It is Friday, March 27th, 2020. It is 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and so you know what time it is. It's time for a little bit of coin metal. And another no Jiu-Jitsu get your ass kicked at Jiu-Jitsu Friday. I might actually have to rename that. You know, it seems like everybody's gone pussified out there, and nobody wants to do anything for real. So, you know, not feeling real happy about that. Need my physical contact. Need somebody choking me choking somebody else. I don't know what it is. You know, it's like some sort of pheromone addiction you get after a little while of jiu-jitsu. You know, it's like it's party, you know? And what bugs me about it is a lot of the people that are mandating the time schedule when we get back to doing things have people that they can work jiu-jitsu with, you know? So it's like they still get theirs, you know, they're still getting their little dopamine rush, and a little hormonal connection and physical connection, and that, you know, all of the dopamine reactions and all the good stuff that goes with that. But not a lot of the people out here, you know. And so, you know, video streaming is wonderful for like certain types of instruction and certain types of live classes, but I don't feel it's appropriate for jiu-jitsu. You know, I need a live person there. I don't know what it is. It's just something about me. But anyway, enough of that business. Man, I've been buried under a lot of work, you know, and so for me, it's not actually been a change of status. You know, it's like a lot of people have been like bitching about it and going freak out. I can only imagine what it's like for them because they're not used to it. You know, I've been doing this shit for like a long time. You know, about like 4 years, I would say. And so, you know, but the thing that gets me is that it's the things that I do to get away from the fact that this is my normal existence, you know, that are being taken away. And so it's like, what the fuck, man? I can't fucking escape. You know, it's like, enough of my life was virtual already. No. We gotta make even more of your life virtual. Fuck you. So, I made a move today, though. You know, I bought a fishing license. I'd been holding off on it because, you know, I'd had some other issues that I had to resolve first. You know, I prioritize things a little bit differently now that I have been doing jiu-jitsu. It's kind of made me look at my own values and how I like regulate where I'm going to put my money, you know? And so it's like I've been evaluating things more by, like, you know, what value it is to me. And so it's like that the things that were of higher value to me took higher precedent than me getting a fishing license, which is like sacrilege in my fucking life because, well, I'm a fisherman. I've been a fisherman since I could fucking crawl. And so it's like, you know, that's another part of me, right? You know, but it's like I managed to get the one thing taken care of, so I was able to move along and get something else that I really, really needed to get because it had been way too fucking long. So anyway, yeah, I got a fishing license, and I'll tell you what, there's talks of like Enslave throwing some sort of restrictions on Washingtonian fishermen. Well, I can tell you something, Governor Enslave. From the pictures I've seen, people are still fishing in Washington. So, fuck you for even suggesting that Americans should be prohibited from accessing the commons now or at any other time. Fuck you. Who the fuck do you think you are? There's no fucking variant of the cold is ever going to make me not an American and thus deny me access to the commons, which is a promise to me. So, yeah, you know, you can just go fuck off. That's not something that you can violate. And, you know, I would suggest that anybody trying to violate that right on somebody else, you know, they're like messing with your fundamental rights, man. Feeding yourself is a fundamental right. You know, if you can't feed yourself, you're probably going to die, right? Well, if you can fish, and there's a river right there and it's got some fish in it, you should be able to fish in that river, catch that fish, and feed yourself without impediment of the law. Because, I mean, if I don't have that, what the fuck do I have, right? But anyway, so yeah, you know, it's like I didn't do a lot of digging around in crypto today. I did a little bit of trading. You know, there's still some frothy action to take part in and do all of that. But yeah, you know, it's like, as far as like crypto media goes, it seems like the fucking SARS or H1N1 or whatever fucking butt virus this is, has like plagued people so much that my Twitter feed has been like preoccupied with people talking shit one way or another about COVID. And honestly, if I were running a PSYOP campaign, right, and my goal were to utterly distract and completely mind control and hypnotize every fucking person on this planet, these are the kind of results I would hope for. Not ones that I'm like designing for or you know, like statistically measuring out beforehand. No, these are the ones that like would be my dream. You know, it's like I would like dream of having this level of mind control, or at least the impression thereof. You know, I seem to think that is starting to fade a little bit. You know, I was talking about that last time around, that it seems like there's even more people kind of turning into question, wait a minute, you know, is the alarmism really all that necessary? Matter of fact, Mayor Cuomo, checked out an article by him earlier today. He's saying to himself, well, you know, maybe stopping civilization as we know it and bringing it to a screeching halt wasn't such a good idea after all. It's like it's starting to like come home to roost for him, that it's like all this isolation, it's cut back on the amount of money that people have spent on alcohol, cut back on the amount they've spent on tobacco, raised the shit out of the amount that they're spending on guns and motherfucking ammo. But you know, it's like it's altering the economic strata in a way that he probably wasn't anticipating, nor is really all that comfortable with. So, you know, it's like he's like reviewing the idea of all this like economic cessation, and you know, trying to, you know, say, well, you know, maybe it wasn't such a good idea. And I know that it's because of this. The man sat through three or four meetings today where somebody was saying to him, sir, we've had a major drop in gas tax revenue. We've got to do something now, or we're not going to have the lights on next month. You know, it's like the economic impact of the change of policy is catching up to the man. And he's like, well, what are we going to make up for that with? And I'll tell you what, the boost that we see in prices of things, it's already started. I'm already seeing it myself. When I go out there and I shop, I see a market increase in the price of items on the shelf. And this tells me that it's going to probably go up even more as the inflation that the Fed is printing makes it out to the consumer market. And that in the long run, it's not going to come back down to a parity. That a lot of the people that are currently staying home from work and learning how to work from home are going to be working from home permanently, on a permanent basis. And I know that's a lot for some people to take in, but it's going to be those adjustments in the way we do things, and we've talked about it on this show for fucking years. This is why I see cryptocurrencies as being something that has only yet begun to flourish. And it's one of the reasons why I believe that there's so much effort to pollute this sphere with the concept of quote-unquote blockchain sans an actual coin. You know, when they're talking about blockchain, they're not talking about a cryptocurrency specific to that quote-unquote blockchain. So for all you know, they're talking about a database that manages a volume of some sort of butt token that they waved a magic wand and magically associated it with something else, whether it be Bitcoin or gold or silver or whatever. The bind can't necessarily be said to be 100%, especially if the sum of the collateral in question is not physically or visually verified or otherwise. There's, of course, other ways to verify cryptographic volumes. I mean, whether or not the person actually has the authority to give it to you, I don't know. You know, it's all dependent on the individual and the situation at hand. But yeah, I believe that this ambiguity that I'm talking about, it is going to change people's interest interface with their currency. And the fact that they are sitting at a computer for 12 hours a day and capable of reviewing gigaterabytes of data every day, you know, whether that be in video or audio or text form, that people will figure shit out. It's one of the reasons why I do the show, is that at some point I expect people to discover it and say, what? I never knew that was possible with the cryptocurrency. Really? I don't need a bank? I don't need a Lightning Network participant and fucking payment service provider? Huh. I better check this out. And they will find us. Because I know I'm not the only one out there doing things like this. But what they get from it, that's going to be the value question. You know, will they be getting sold nothing better than their US dollar or other fiat currency that they're being transitioned into crypto from? I don't know. But I believe the evolution will be a long period of time. I think that for it to get to where I'm talking about, probably within the next, I would say, 2 to 5 years, where we will transition to a quote-unquote national cryptocurrency. It won't be anything of the sort. It won't work anything of the sort. And when we notice the policy differential, you know, where we're not actually making enough on our own to be advancing, but everybody else, or at least a certain number of us, seem to be advancing while everybody else is not. And where that will hit an inflection point where the rubber won't hit the road anymore, and we'll notice that. I've already seen where that's starting to happen with regard to COVID, and I expect that trend will continue. That people will be eager enough to get back to work and be making money, and are willing to accept the possibility that they might get the cold this year. Because you know that happens like maybe once a year, maybe even twice a year. You know, where you're incapable of going to work because you're going to fucking infect everybody. And so we just got to continue to live as though that's a reality. You know, life is a full contact sport. And no, that is not the COVID. I've hardly been out in public, and fuck, I've sounded like this for at least the last 10 years? Yeah. At least as long as I've been smoking pot. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw down with some music. And you know we're going to go with some body count, so let's get on down there. And something off of Bloodlust. Here we go. This is how I feel about this whole COVID thing. No lives matter. First stance here on Coin Metal. And that was Skindred with Nobody. And so, as far as where we're going to go tonight, I was doing a little bit of digging around, and wouldn't you know it, I came across something that was interesting enough to read. Let me see if I can get back to the original article here. Yeah, here we go. I think I might have described a potential in cryptocurrency of it going to some sort of slavery system. Well, I think I might have figured out who is going to be the vendor for slave coin. And unfortunately, it's not going to be us on the developer end. Or, you know, this is just one option, one possibility. There are certainly other cryptocurrencies out there, and I believe this one will probably compete with it. Whether or not it will actually be worth a shit, who's to say? Anyway, this thing is on .u.today. I don't even know what fucking webpage this is. Yeah, u.today. I don't / Bitcoin Killer, Microsoft. Yeah, okay. So Bitcoin Killer, Microsoft wants to create cryptocurrency powered by body heat. And this is by Alex Dovbinya. So yes, penis. And this is authored on the 27th of March 2020 at 13:30. No indication of time zone. Shame on you, Alex. Microsoft is not sleeping on cryptocurrency hype. The software behemoth plans to create its own cryptocurrency that will use body activity data instead of computational power for mining. A publicly available patent titled, quote, cryptocurrency system using body activity data was published on March 26th. Body heat instead of mining rigs. According to the patent's description, different kinds of human body activity, such as heat emitted when a user performs a certain task online or even brainwaves, can be utilized for mining and serve as a proof of work. One will be able to, quote, solve complex computational problems subconsciously without relying on expensive and energy-intensive hardware. Quote, body activity data may be generated based on the sensed body activity of the user. A cryptocurrency system communicatively coupled with the device of the user may verify whether or not the body activity data satisfies one or more conditions set by the cryptocurrency system and award cryptocurrency to the user whose body activity data is verified, the description states. An energy hog. This is bullshit. While the Bitcoin network is lauded for its high level of security, one Bitcoin transaction produces more CO2 than 760,650 Visa transactions. The proof-of-work-based cryptocurrency consumes more power than Chile. Yeah, big fucking whoop-de-doo. We're going to get into why that is fucking bullshit and why Alex needs to fucking learn something about energy dynamics and how it causes things to become more efficient. Continuing. On top of that, 98% of outdated ASICs are going straight to a landfill because they have only one use case, thus creating mammoth-sized piles of e-waste. That's not true either. Yeah, guy's a fucking idiot. And that's all he gives us about this thing. He gives us like two fucking paragraphs, and not even full ones. Fuck you, Alex. Anyway, I did some investigation because Alex could not be trusted as a decent source for this fucking thing. So I actually went to Microsoft, and I did a little bit of digging around, and so yeah, this is it. It's this is on patentscope.wipo.int. Number 1 WO2020060606 cryptocurrency system using body activity data. And let's see, abstract. Human body activity associated with a task provided to a user may be used in a mining process of a cryptocurrency system. A server may provide a task to a device of a user which is communicatively coupled to the server. A sensor communicatively coupled to or comprised in the device of the user may sense body activity of the user. Body activity data may be generated based on the sensed body activity of the user. The cryptocurrency system, communicatively coupled to the device of the user may verify if the body activity data satisfies one or more conditions set by the cryptocurrency system and award cryptocurrency to the user whose body activity data is verified. So if you kill somebody for them, they pay you in cryptocurrency. Had to take it dark there, I know. Let me see if there's any other additional information on this particular... Yeah, here we go. Description. Note, text based on arithmetic optical character recognition processes. Please use PDF version for legal matters. Let's see. Cryptocurrency system using body activity data background. A virtual currency, also known as a digital currency, is a medium of exchange implemented through the internet generally, not tied to a specific government-backed, quote, fiat printed currency such as the US dollar or the euro, and typically designed to allow instantaneous transactions and borderless transfer of ownership. One example of virtual currency is cryptocurrency, wherein cryptography is used to secure transactions and to control the creation of new units. You can see here where we were talking about Cardano the other day, and what use would it be to be able to do 1 million transactions per second off chain? Well, here you go. Personally, I thought our time spent reading the Cardano white paper, or what we could find about it, because they don't actually have a white paper, it described something that would be of use to this. Like your Fitbit, it doesn't tap back to the server on a constant basis, or at least I don't think it does. And so if you could imagine you're running some sort of miner, and it's making computations based on your actual movements, and it tunes back to the centralized server on a relatively regular basis. I'm assuming in time with a block reward. And similar to in Bitcoin, we've got 10-minute blocks. Yeah, anyway, continuing on. Several cryptocurrencies exist. Among these, the most well-known is a blockchain-based cryptocurrency, which we did not identify. Most blockchain-based cryptocurrency is decentralized in the sense that it has no central point of control. However, blockchain-based cryptocurrency can be implemented in a centralized system having a central point of failure control over the cryptocurrency. Yeah, Microsoft, I know you've been exercising this little thing where you happen to host all of the text and all the code and all the information for people's cryptocurrency projects and platforms. So you've probably got a department or two dedicated to nothing else but creating exploits or trying to find ways to exploit issues within the existing software. I know that's probably a fact, because the rate of increase in the number of source level compromises that we've seen, errant data software that's been uploaded to GitHub repositories and so on, has risen dramatically since you've taken ownership of GitHub. So don't tell me the correlation is just incidental. Fuck you. Continuing on. Electronic cash system. A blockchain is a data structure that stores a list of transactions and can be thought of as a distributed electronic ledger that records transactions between sources, identifiers, and destination identifiers. Oh, by the way, I wanted to kind of fill that out a little bit more. What Microsoft, as well as the U.S. government, as well as other centralized authorities with centralized hierarchies and what they cannot envision is that any kind of order can be derived from a chaotic event, such as millions of miners out there all running their own implementation on their own hardware and coming to a consensus result They cannot fucking conceive of this. It just cannot be fucking conceived of by them. You know, because there's no way to, like, there's no little lever point of control on it. Or no apparent one. And this is where they run into the issue, is that they need to have a little control point in there, right? They need to have the little keyhole in there for their specialized key that they get to use and they get to control shit through, right? Well, here's the problem. Once you make that shit digital, if the keyhole exists, if it exists at all, somebody else will find it and somebody else will use it. Not specifically to your advantage. Or they themselves will exploit its existence in other ways, and that's even more dangerous. Anyway, continuing on. Several cryptocurrencies exist. Among these, the most well-known, Bitcoin, is a blockchain-based cryptocurrency. We already read that one. Electronic cash system. A blockchain is a data structure. Let's see. These transactions are bundled into blocks, and every block, except for the first block, refers back to or is linked to a prior block in the blockchain, most likely consecutive blocks. Computer resources or nodes, etc., maintain the blockchain and cryptographically validate each new block and the transactions contained in the corresponding block. The validation process includes computationally solving a difficult problem that is also easy to verify, and sometimes called a proof of work. This process is referred to as mining. The mining may be a random process with low probability, so that a lot of trial and error is required to solve a computationally difficult problem. Accordingly, the mining may require enormous amounts of computational energy, which forces the participants in it to become more efficient, which is better for everybody. Continuing. It is with respect to these and other general considerations that the following embodiments have been described. Also, although respectively, specific problems have been discussed. It should be understood that the embodiments should not be limited to solving specific problems identified in the background. Summary. Some exemplary embodiments of the present disclosure may use human body activity associated with the task provided to a user as a solution to, quote, mining challenges in cryptocurrency systems. For example, a brainwave or body heat emitted from the user when the user performs the task provided by an information or service provider, such as viewing advertisement or using certain internet services, can be used in the mining process instead of massive computation work required by some conventional cryptocurrency systems. Data generated based on the body activity of the user can be a proof of work, and therefore a user can solve the computationally difficult problem unconsciously. Accordingly, certain exemplary embodiments of the present disclosure may reduce computational energy for the mining process, as well as make the mining process faster. Systems, methods, and hardware aspects of computer-readable storage media are provided herein for a cryptocurrency system using human body activity data. According to various embodiments of the present disclosure, a server may provide a task to a device of a user which is communicatively coupled to a server. A sensor communicatively coupled to or comprised in the device of the user may sense body activity of the user. Body activity data may be generated based on the sensed body activity of the user. A cryptocurrency system communicatively coupled to the device of the user may verify whether or not the body activity data satisfies one or more conditions set by the cryptocurrency system and award cryptocurrency to the user whose body activity data is verified. Dance, monkey, dance! Examples are implemented as a computer process, a computing system, or as an article of manufacture, such as a device, computer program product, or computer readable medium. According to one aspect, the computer program product is a computer storage medium readable by a computer system and encoding a computer program comprising instructions for executing a computer process. Type, monkey, type. The summary is provided to introduce a selection of concepts in a simplified form that are further described below in the detailed description. The summary is not intended to identify key features or essential features of the claimed subject matter, nor is it intended to be used to limit the scope of the claimed subject matter. Kill, monkey, kill! Brief description of the drawings. And we looked over some of the drawings, and they're quite interesting. Let's see. I think it was the first one I was looking at on here. If I can find it. Yeah, it shows a human figure, and let's see here if I can make it bigger. A human figure, a sensor, a user device, a communications network linked to a cryptocurrency system, and both the communication network and the cryptocurrency system are both shaped as clouds kind of thing, and all of it relates back to a centralized server, and I'm assuming that's Microsoft. You know, it's funny, they could probably do this already directly through the Xbox. I swear to fucking Christ, these people listen to my show. Holy shit. I've been talking about using the Xbox as a miner itself. I mean, but the thing is, the fucking thing has a GPU in it. Why not mine a fucking proof of stake or a proof of work coin with it? For fuck's sake. Give me some fucking control over how I use my hardware to make me money. Not make me into a fucking monkey to dance around in front of a sensor on top of my fucking TV to get paid. You know, it's going to be, you know, if I'm particularly attractive, it might send a woman over to my house and cue me to have sex with her, and I get paid based on my performance. That's really fucking future looking there, dude. Anyway, I want to take a pause here because for some reason, I am really fucking hungry all of a sudden. So I'm going to go ahead and throw back down into some music, get some food, and then I will be back. But we do have to have a little bit of structure to our music here, because that's just the way we do this show, or the way I do my show. And there is a song, and I typically save it for Fridays, because it does include the word Friday in it. And let me see if I can find it here. While I get the pressure on me. And here it is. Good Morning, Black Friday by Megadeth. Here on Coin Metal. And that was Cavalier Conspiracy with Sanctuary. You know, I was actually hoping that would actually be some sort of song about Sanctuary. I guess I should have listened to it a bit more closely before putting it on. But these things happen. Anyway, I got this next article here. It's on CoinDesk. And actually, I want to tap back into this thing, see if there's any more text business. Yeah, there's just plenty more. Let me get down through all this shit. See, it describes... It's got a whole bunch of descriptions of all the image notes. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. This is the cryptocurrency system using body activity data. And we covered background, electronic cash system. And I think we covered that. Summary, some exemplary body embodiments at present. Disclosure may have body activity associated with the task. I'm trying to figure out exactly where we are in this thing. We got down to brief description of drawings. And so 009 is various embodiments in accordance with the present disclosure will be described with reference to the drawings in which Figure 1 illustrates an example environment in which some exemplary embodiments of the present disclosure may be practiced. Figure 2 shows a system diagram of a decentralized cryptocurrency system according to an exemplary embodiment of the present disclosure. Number 3 shows a flow diagram of a computation implemented method using an exemplary embodiment of the present disclosure. Number 4 shows a flow diagram of an operation for generating body activity data according to an exemplary embodiment of the present disclosure. And figure 5 shows a flow diagram of an operation for verifying body activity data according to an exemplary embodiment of the present disclosure. And figure 6 illustrates a blockchain and 2 exemplary blocks of the blockchain according to an exemplary embodiment of the present disclosure. Now, see, I can detect an issue wherein somebody could introduce bias for certain individuals, where certain individuals would be running on one algorithm and then everybody else would be running on another. And you and I aren't in knowledge of this. You know, these people just get like an aggregate percentage more by default, just because of like who they are or whatever. And you don't know this because you were just a user of the system. And I think that's quite alarming right there. And that's just going by what I can discern from what I've observed so far. There's probably something in there that may or may not corroborate that suspicion or may completely dispel it. We're willing to entertain that possibility. But we are talking about Microsoft here, so we always assume evil. So let's see. Figure 7 shows a flow diagram of a computer-implemented method using a vector or embedding according to another exemplary embodiment of the present disclosure. And figure 7 illustrates an exemplary block diagram of a computer or processing system which processes involved in the system, method, and computer program product described here may be implemented. Corresponding numerals and symbols in the different figures generally refer to corresponding parts unless otherwise indicated. The figures are shown to clearly illustrate the relevant aspects of the embodiments and are not necessarily drawn to scale, meaning that it's not just one user, it's probably billions of users. Continuing. Detailed description of embodiments. In the following detailed description, reference is made to accompanying drawings which form a part hereof and in which are shown by way of illustration specific embodiments in which the invention may be practiced. These embodiments are described in sufficient detail to enable those skilled in the art to practice the invention, and it is to be understood that other embodiments may be utilized, and that structural, logical, and electrical changes may be made without departing from the spirit and scope of the invention. The following detailed description is therefore not to be taken in a limiting sense, and the scope of the invention is defined only by the appended claims and equivalents thereof. Like numbers in the figures refer to like components, which should be apparent to the context of use. Yeah, like I said, they could be using this already in association with the Xbox, where the sensors on the Xbox that you've got that are hooked up to the Xbox read your movements, and there's computations going on in your device that are sent back to Microsoft. So anyway, continuing. The term cryptocurrency may mean a digital currency in which encryption techniques are used to regulate the generation of units of currency and verify the transfer of funds. Many cryptocurrencies include the use of a blockchain to provide security and to prevent fraud as double spending. Some embodiments of the present disclosure may be used in alternate cryptocurrency mechanisms other than a blockchain, i.e. a database. The system, method, and computer program products described herein may be applied to both centralized and decentralized cryptocurrency networks or databases. Meaning, you don't have to be a knowing miner, you could just be wearing it in your cell phone or in your laptop or in your tablet or in your shirt. And all kinds of information can be gleaned from that, and you may be rewarded slightly for it, while somebody else makes a hell of a lot more money on it, i.e. Microsoft. Continuing on. Decentralized cryptocurrency networks and databases. Yeah, we got that. Figure 1 illustrates an example of an example environment 100 in which some exemplary embodiments of the present disclosure may be practiced. The example environment 100 includes, but is not limited to, at least one of the task server 110 communication network, 120 user device, 130 sensor, and 140 cryptocurrency system 150. Task server 110 may provide one or more tasks to user device 130 over communication network 120. For example, task server 110 may be at least one of a web server delivering or serving up web pages, an application server handling application operations between users and applications or databases, a cloud server, a database server, a file server, a service server, a game server implementing games or services for a game, and a media server delivering media such as streaming video or audio. The task provided by task server 110 will be discussed in more detail below. Alternatively, cryptocurrency 150 may provide one or more tasks to user device 130. For example, in a decentralized cryptocurrency network, the tasks may be proposed to user device 130 by miners, ergo compute resources or compute resources or nodes 210 of figure 2. In another example, in a centralized cryptocurrency system, a cryptocurrency server may send the tasks to user device 130. In other words, instead of you providing the work, they will be providing the work to you. Communication network 120 may include any wired or wireless connection, the internet, or any other form of communication. Although one network is identified in Figure 1, Communication Network 120 may include any number of different communication networks between any of the server, devices, resource, and system shown in Figures 1 and 2, and or other servers, devices, resources, and systems described herein. Communication Network 120 may enable communication between various computing resources or devices, servers, and systems Various implementations of Communication Network 120 may employ different types of networks. For example, but not limited to, computer networks, telecommunications networks, ergo cellular, mobile wireless data networks, and any combination of these and or other networks, i.e. all of the above. User device 130 may include any device capable of processing and storing data/information and communicating over Communication Network 120. For example, user device 130 may include personal computers, servers, cell phones, tablets, laptops, smart devices, ergo smartwatches or smart televisions. An exemplary embodiment of user device 130 is illustrated in Figure 6. Sensor 140 may be configured to sense the body activity of user 145. As illustrated in Figure 1, Sensor 140 may be a separate component from user device 130 and be operably and or communicatively connected to user device 130. Alternatively, Sensor 140 may be included and integrated in user device 130. Ergo, your RFID chip that's been implanted in your skin. For example, user device 130 may be a wearable device having Sensor 140 therein. Sensor 140 may transmit information/data to user device 130. Sensor 140 may include, for example, but not limited to, functional magnetic resonance imaging, MRI scanners or sensors, electroencephalography sensors, in other words, your brain, near-infrared spectroscopy sensors, heart rate monitors, thermal sensors, optical sensors, radio frequency sensors, ultrasonic sensors, cameras, or any other sensor or scanner that can measure or sense body activity or scan human body. For instance, the fMRI may measure body activity by detecting changes associated with blood flow. The fMRI may use a magnetic field and radio waves to create detailed images of the body, ergo blood flow in the brain, to detect areas of activity. The material shows one example of how the fMRI can measure brain activity associated with visual information and generate image data. Great, they're going to be reading your brain and then projecting data based on what they read. Cryptocurrency System 150 may include one or more processors for processing commands and one or more memories storing information in one or more cryptocurrency data structures. In other words, you could be monetized on another blockchain and not even know it. Hey, wonderful! In some embodiments, cryptocurrency system may be a centralized cryptocurrency system or network, for example, but not limited to, a server which may be privately run by a third-party entity or the same entity that is running the task server 110. In other embodiments, cryptocurrency system 150 may be a publicly accessible network system, maybe. Ergo, a distributed decentralized computing system, but not necessarily available to you. For example, cryptocurrency system 150 may be a decentralized network 200, such as a decentralized blockchain network, including one or more compute resources 210 as shown, for example, in Figure 2. In the embodiment of Figure 2, there may be no central authority controlling cryptocurrency network 200. The data stored on blockchain network 200, i.e. the public ledger, may not be stored at a central location in its entirety. Blockchain network 200 may include a plurality of processors for processing commands and a plurality of memories storing information in one or more blockchain data structures. Blockchain Network 200 may maintain one or more blockchains of continuously growing lists of data blocks, where each data block refers to previous blocks on its list. The requirement for each block to refer to all previous blocks in the blockchain yields a chain of blocks that is hardened against tampering and revision, such that the information stored in the blockchain is immutable. Yeah, a blockchain, indicating that there could be a plurality of blockchains being copied and transcribed to at once, and at any one time, one variant of it can be called up. Not necessarily the absolute correct and true one. Continuing on. Compute Resources 210 may include any device, computer system, or otherwise that has joined Blockchain Network 200 and forms a node in Blockchain Network 200. Compute Resources 210 may include, for example, but not limited to, personal computers, servers, cell phones, tablets, laptops, smart devices, ergo smartwatches or smart televisions, or any other device capable of storing information and computing over Communication Network 120. In other words, it might not even necessarily be configured specifically to communicate with Network 120, but Network 120 may have, in fact, communication protocols and capabilities with it, unbeknownst to the user and manufacturer of the device. Continuing on. In some embodiments, Compute Resources 210 may be unaffiliated with or unknown to each other where, for example, Compute Resources 210 remain anonymous or of separate manufacturer. Each Compute Resource 210 may include Memory 220 that stores a copy of at least a portion of Public Ledger 230 of Blockchain Network 200. Compute Resources 210 may also exclude one or more programs to perform various functions associated with maintaining Blockchain Network 200, including, for example, updating Public Ledger 230, generating new blocks, or any other similar function. In other words, you could have a centralized server doing all of that, and you're just providing transactions to it. For illustration purposes, Figure 1 illustrates user device 130 as not included in Blockchain Network 200. However, user device 130 may be part of a Blockchain Network 200 and may be implemented as one of the Compute Resources 210 in Figure 2. Public Ledger 230 may store any transactions performed over Blockchain Network 200, including but not limited to, for example, any transaction related to and occurring on Blockchain Network 200. Because each Compute Resource 210 stores a copy of at least a portion of the Public Ledger 230 of Blockchain Network 200, Public Ledger 230 may be independently verified for accuracy at any time by comparing the stored copies of multiple Compute Resources 210. And by the way, those numbers are in association to direct references that are made in the other pages of this documentation. Communication between Compute Resources 210 may occur via Communication Network 120. Communication Network 120 of Figure 2 may be the same network as or be a different network from Communication 120 of Figure 1. In some embodiments, each Compute Resource 210 may communicate directly with each other. Compute Resource 210. Let me read that again here. Each Compute Resource 210 may communicate directly with each other. Compute Resource 210. In some embodiments, some Compute Resources 210 may not be able to communicate directly with each other. For example, they are not connected to the same communications network 120. In this case, Communications related to Blockchain Network 200 between the Compute Resources 210 may occur by using one or more of the remaining Compute Resources 210 as an intermediary. In some embodiments, one or more of the Compute Resource 210 may not maintain a continuous connection to Blockchain Network 200 at all times. For example, a Compute Resource 210 may only be connected to Blockchain Network 200 during a certain period of time each day, or may only be connected to Blockchain Network 200 intermittently throughout the day. Due to the decentralized nature of Blockchain Network 290, such an intermittent connection by one or more Compute Resources 210 does not affect the overall operation of Blockchain Network 200, since copies of Public Ledger 230 are stored on multiple Compute Resources 210. Once the disconnected Compute Resource 210 reconnects to Blockchain Network 200, the disconnected Compute Resource 210 may receive updated copies of Public Ledger 210 from one or more of the Compute Resources 210 that have been connected to Blockchain Network 200. Figure 3 shows a flow diagram of a computer-implemented method according to an exemplary embodiment of the present disclosure. Method 300 begins at operation 310, illustrated in Figure 3, where Task Server 110 provides one or more tasks to device 130 of user 145 over Communications Network 120. The tasks include, for example, but not limited to, watching or listening to information, ergo an advertisement, for a certain period of time, using services, ergo search engine, chatbot, email, social media / networking service, and any internet or web service, uploading or sending information / data to a website, a server or a network, ergo content sharing website and cloud network or server, or any other information or service which may produce effects on users. In the blockchain, the tasks may be included as a transaction in the public ledger 230. Furthermore, the tasks provided by Task Server 110 can include solving a test for distinguishing human from machine input so that humans but not computers are able to pass it, such as computer automated program to tell computers or what's a flumen? To tell computers and humans apart. It says flumens apart here. Where? Weird. Let's see. CAPTCHA and ReCAPTCHA, which is a CAPTCHA-like system designed to establish a computer user as a human. The task may require user 145 or 145 to solve a verification challenge, for example, but not limited to an image-based challenge, including instructions, prompting user 145 to solve the challenge through interaction with one or more images. You're already doing that when you verify that you're a human on some systems. At operation 320, when or after user 145 performs the tasks provided by Task Server 110, Sensor 140 may sense the body activity of user 145 that is a body response related to the task provided by Task Server 110, and then transmit the sensed body activity of user 145 to user device 130. The body activity may include, for example, but not limited to, radiation emitted from human body, brain activities, body fluid flow, ergo blood flow, organ activity or movement, body movement, and or any other activities that can be sensed and represented by images, waves, signals, texts, numbers, degrees, or any other form of information or data. Examples of body radiation emitted from the human body may include radiant heat of the body, pulse rate, or brainwave. Brainwaves may comprise, for example, but not limited to, gamma waves involved in learning or memory tasks, beta waves involved in logical thinking and or conscious thought, alpha waves which may be related to subconscious thoughts, theta waves which may be related to thoughts involving deep and raw emotions, delta waves which may be involved in sleep or deep relaxation, or electroencephalogram, EEG, which may be measurement used to elevate the electrical activity in the brain, such as deep concentration. Examples of the body movement may include eye movement, facial movement, or any other muscular movements. Furthermore, brain activity can be sensed using the fMRI. The fMRI measures brain activity by detecting changes associated with blood flow. This technique relies on the fact that cerebral blood flow and neuronal activation are coupled. When an area of the brain is in use, blood flow to that region also increases. At what point do they start manipulating it for you by feeding you specific images and audio cues? Fucking shit. Dude, you know what? This is why they have fought tooth and nail to prevent you from having any kind of digital security or privacy whatsoever. Because they intend to monetize your every fucking movement. And incentivize it. Kill, monkey, kill. Alright, continuing on. At Operation 330, user device. Oh, wait, see. Brain user. Okay. Yeah, okay. Operation 330, user device 130 generates body activity data based on the body activity sensed by sensor 140. Operation 330 may be a part of a mining process, which is a process for solving a computationally difficult problem. One exemplary embodiment of Operation 330 is shown in Figure 4. As shown in Figure 4, Operation 330 may comprise Operations 410 and 420. At Operation 410, the body activity sensed by Sensor 140 may be codified in symbolic forms, such as letters, numerals, symbols, and a string of comprising sequence of characters. In one example, the body activity can be codified by extracting one or more values from the sensed body activity, such as minimum and or maximum amplitudes or frequencies of a body activity signal, ergo brainwaves. This is why they need that 5G bullshit. In another example, user device 130 may window and sample the sensed body activity over time and calculate the average of these sampled values. Dude, they're putting this shit in place right now. I'd be willing to bet this is exactly why they've been pushing everybody to get in front of a fucking camera and a whole bunch of fucking microphones and do every single activity that they normally do in real life, but in front of that fucking camera. Fuck you. I'm not gonna do it. Continuing on. Let's see here. At Operation 410, the body activity sensed by Sensor 140 may be codified in symbolic forms, such as letters, numerals, symbols, and a string of comprising sequence characters. In one example, the body activity may be codified. Yeah, we already got all that part. Let's see here. User device 130 may generate raw data of the body activity. In another example, user device 130 may filter a raw signal of the body activity using one or more filters to apply the filtered body activity signal to an audio hash function or algorithm at Operation 420. Alternatively, Any statistical value associated with human body activity can be codified from the body activity sensed by sensor 140. At operation 420, the codified body activity may be converted into an encrypted output by using an encryption algorithm such as a hash algorithm or function. For example, hash functions include functions that map an initial input data set of an output data set. Generally, the hash function may be any function that can be used to map data of arbitrary size to data of fixed size. In other words, they can determine the value rate of your movement and all that other bullshit. They get to determine the exchange rate. The hash function allows one to easily verify that some input data maps to a given hash value, but if the input data is unknown, it is deliberately difficult to reconstruct it or any equivalent activities by knowing the stored hash value. The hash algorithm or function may be included in the mining software or program of the cryptocurrency system or database. For example, Operation 420 may use audio hash function where the histogram of frequencies of the codified body activity are summed up, or bit manipulation such as XOR function of each histogram bucket with the next, or a modulus of a prime number is performed on the codified body activity. In some embodiments, an analog hash function where the body activities themselves are hashes can be used. For example, waves or signals sensed by sensor 140, for example, but not limited to alpha, beta, delta, or gamma waves from the EEG sensor may be transformed to a histogram using a transforming algorithm or formula such as a fast Fourier transform, or any other algorithm or formula that can convolve, add, or multiply waves or signals to produce a histogram. The hash may be a histogram itself. For example, the hash may be the output of the FFT, where each component is a frequency band, and the value is counts corresponding to each frequency band. In another example, the desired properties may be that the first two frequency histograms are as close to zero as possible. For instance, provided some statistical guarantee exists that this cannot happen easily. However, Operation 420 is optional. In certain embodiments, user device 130, without encrypting or hashing the codified body activity, may transmit the codified body activity generated at Operation 410 to cryptocurrency system 150. In other words, you could be hashing for them and not even know it. Although Figure 3 illustrates that Operation 330, including Operation 410 and 420, is processed by user device 130, at least one of the operations, 410 and 420, can be processed by another device's server, resource, or system, such as a task server 110, cryptocurrency 150, or any other server. For example, the user device 130 may generate raw data of the sensed body activity, transmit it to cryptocurrency system 150, task server 110, or any other server, and then cryptocurrency system 150, task server 110, or any other server may codify or hash the raw data of the sensed body activity. Yeah, in other words, if you don't keep moving, the signal will go to it that you are not moving, and an electrical stimulus will be given and administered until you get the fuck back up and get back to work, monkey. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw back down into some music. And as far as where to go, I got this song playing, and I think it's appropriate. And so we're going to play it. And so here it is. Wayne Static, Assassins of Youth, here on Coin Metal. And that was Textures with New Horizons. And what new horizons do you think we may be facing? You know, every time you do a Facebook call or a Skype call or a Google call or a streaming service that you're streaming to somebody else, it could very well be monetized and crafted into a little package to be sold and transacted amongst entities unbeknownst to you. And probably is. I wouldn't doubt it, actually. And it really shapes up things to be interesting, though, because when you think about it, it could be that people could all be configured to do uniform activities based on the materials that they're given. So when you look at it in context of, say, your social media, like your Twitter or your Facebook, that your Facebook could be giving you little tweaks according to what you're seeing on it, you know? And according to your reactions, those are producing a hash result that's being included in a transaction, that's being included in a block, that's being included in a blockchain, and none of it is of value to you. It's only of value to this entity that's accruing it. And what the thing about it is that there is intrinsic in this description, is completely omitted that there are going to be multiple transaction records, multiple blockchains, and multiple entities that are keeping track of these and denominating these in various value signatures. And again, you'll probably not be involved in any of it. Just accruing a unit, maybe. You know, maybe there's some sort of monetary unit or reward that's associated with your sitting there and pointing and clicking or doing the physical activities that they're asking you to do. Kill monkey kill. You know, it sounds kind of scary as far as I'm concerned, especially when you consider the effect on the individual that has. You know, I mean, really, you got to start looking out at your world, what you consider your world to be, and consider this. How much of my world can be simulated with nothing more than a video camera, a word processor, an internet connection, and a party intent on deceiving me or manipulating me? When you can't claim ownership of more than 10-15% of your reality, there's something really wrong. And it is with that I'd like to go ahead and close out this episode. Thank you very much for listening. I certainly do appreciate the support. We'll be back again on Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and so until then, I want y'all to trade safe. Do your homework. And watch out for your own bunghole, because nobody else is going to do it for you. And as far as our last dance is concerned, I think that I want to play this one. And it's by Vola, In Mazes, Last Dance, here on Coin Metal. Thank you again for listening, and y'all have an excellent weekend. Good night.